Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I found these four paragraphs, which I thought were good exercises in determining unified versus non-unified paragraphs. So there are four paragraphs here, short paragraphs that we shall read together, inshallah. And there are some sentences that don't belong. Okay. In the first paragraph, it looks like there are two sentences that don't belong. All the sentences are numbered. So if you recall, a paragraph is unified if all of the sentences support the theme of the paragraph. So to determine whether or not a paragraph is unified, the first thing therefore we have to determine is what's the theme, and then determine if the sentences support that. So let's read this together. First paragraph, how to manage your time. So it's given, it looks like that's the theme. So we have to make sure that all the sentences help us manage time. As you use your calendar to manage your time, think about how long certain activities will take. A common mistake is to underestimate the time needed to do something, even something simple. For example, when you're planning the time needed to get cash from the cash machine, remember that there may be a line of people. Last week in the line, I met a woman I went to high school with, so we chatted. It turns out that she has two children just the same age as mine. When you are estimating time for a more complex activity, such as reading a chapter in a textbook, block out more time than you think you will need. If you finish in less time than you have allotted, so much the better. One should allow for interruptions because it is better to allow too much time than too little. Okay, so there are two sentences here that don't belong here. So, how to manage your time. As you use your calendar to manage your time, think about how long certain activities will take. That sounds reasonable. A common mistake is to underestimate the time needed to do something, even something simple. So is this about time management? Yes, it is. Okay. For example, when you are planning the time needed to get a cash from cash station machine, remember that there may be a line of people. Is this correlated with the theme? Yes. So the theme is how to manage time, and then the second sentence introduces a common mistake, and the third sentence is an example of a common mistake that have to do with managing time. And then this fourth sentence, however, last week in line I met a woman I went to high school with, so we chatted. Okay, that's very nice, but it gets kind of distracting, right? It's kind of fine. So what? It turns out that she has two children just the same age as mine. That's wonderful to know, but how is that going to help me manage my time, right? In fact, reading these two sentences is wasting your time, so to speak. So these two sentences, the fact that the person who wrote this essay met somebody while they were in line. So though they don't directly support, now they do suggest that, okay, if you're in line, you might start chatting with people, whatever. But that's already revealed over here. There might be a line, fine. What are you else going to do in line except for wait? So these two sentences are distracting, and they don't relate directly to the paragraph, so they break the unity of the paragraph. Okay? Then, after that, when you're estimating time for a more complex activity, such as reading a chapter in a textbook, block out more time than you think you'll need. That's appropriate. If you finish in less time, so much the better. One should allow for interruptions because it's better to allow too much time than too little. So I thought that was a good one. So these two sentences over here, number 4 and 5, they break the unity and they're not relevant. Okay, let's do this second one. Rainforest diversity. The topic is rainforest diversity. So every sentence is supposed to support that. Rainforests, such as those in South America and Africa, contain more plants and animal species than does any other area in the world. That's a nice introductory statement, actually. Rainforests, such as those in South America and Africa, contain more plants and animal species than does any other area in the world. For example, more bird species have been identified in a wildlife preserve in Peru than in the entire United States. Peru is a small country, by the way. So, more bird species have been identified in the tiny country Peru than the whole of the United States. That supports the diversity, doesn't it? Number 3, if a habitat is not protected, the bird species will eventually vanish. At least 700 different tree species have been found in one forest in Borneo. The same number exists in the whole of the United States. One river in Brazil contains more species of fish than all rivers and lakes in the United States together. If nothing is done to prevent these rainforests from being cleared, untold number of plants and animal species will certainly become extinct. So there are 2 sentences again that don't belong. I hope you picked those up. Let's read it again. Rainforests, such as those in South America and Africa, contain more plants and animal species than does any other area in the world. For example, more bird species have been identified in a wildlife preserve in Peru than in the entire United States. So this sentence is an explanation and naturally follows the first sentence. So that's fine. The third sentence, on the other hand, if a habitat is not protected, the bird species will eventually vanish. Okay, that's nice thought, and that shows that the author is concerned about these bird species. That's wonderful, but that's for a different essay, because this sentence does not support this topic, which is rainforest diversity. The fact that the habitat needs to be protected, that's all wonderful and very nice. But the topic here is that the rainforests are very diverse. They have a lot of different species. So this does not support the topic. At least 700 different species have been found in one forest in Borneo. That supports the topic because that's diversity. That's 700 species in one forest. The same number exists in the whole of North America. So that works. One river in Brazil contains more species of fish than all the rivers and lakes in the United States together. That also suggests that this area is very diverse. If nothing is done to prevent these rainforests from becoming cleared, untold number of plants and animal species will certainly become extinct. Again, there we go with the environmental bit again, which is wonderful. I love these animals and trees and just as much as anybody else. And I'm an environmentalist in that nature, but that's not relevant in this particular essay. And in fact, if anything, that's going to irritate the reader, and they're going to not want to be an environmentalist. So you have to be careful. These 2 sentences, the thoughts themselves are very fine, but they do not support the main theme of the essay, which is of the paragraph, which is a diversity. So these 2 sentences, they do not belong in this paragraph. They break the unity. They belong somewhere else, but they break the unity of this paragraph. The third paragraph is a short one. There's only one sentence here apparently that we need to look for. Savannah, Georgia, that's a city in Georgia. Savannah, Georgia is an interesting city to visit. Atlanta, Georgia also attracts many visitors. In downtown Savannah, several historic houses dating back to the early 19th century are open to public. When one takes a walking tour, they'll easily see the 3-line squares the city is famous for. The 3-line square the city is famous for. Okay, hopefully the one that doesn't belong stands out to you. Savannah, Georgia is an interesting city to visit. That's the topic sentence. It's an introductory. Hey, it's a nice city to visit. You're talking about Savannah. Come over to Savannah, Georgia. And then come over to Savannah, Georgia, and you're talking about Atlanta, Georgia. What's up with that? So this sentence does not belong. Atlanta, Georgia attracts many visitors. So, okay, who do we care? Okay, we care about Atlanta, but it's not in this paragraph. Right now, we're talking about Savannah. So this second sentence does not belong. It breaks the unity of the paragraph. Savannah, Georgia is an interesting city. In downtown Savannah, several historic houses dating back to the early 19th century are open to the public. When one takes a walking tour, they will easily see the 3-line squares the city is famous for. Okay, So that second sentence breaks the unity of the paragraph. All right, the last paragraph we shall read is how to prevent cheating. I guess this is advice for teachers. Irrelevant to us because we don't do that kind of stuff. They're excellent people. Now let's read this and see how many sentences. Let's see, there are 2 sentences apparently here that don't belong. Let's try to find those 2 sentences that break the unity. Okay, teachers should take steps to prevent students from cheating on exams. Okay, so that's like the topic sentence. Teachers, okay, prevent students from cheating on exam. Okay, everything should support these sentences. To begin with, teachers should stop reusing old tests. So that's one advice. Stop reusing old tests, because is that relevant to preventing cheating? Yes. So that's okay. Even a test that has been used once is soon known on the student grapevine. Students will check with their friends to find out, for example, what was on Dr. Thompson's biology final exam last term. They may even manage to turn up a copy of the test itself, accidentally not turned in by a former student of Dr. Thompson's. Teachers should also take some common sense precautions at test time. Okay? They should make students separate themselves by at least 1 seat during an exam, and they should watch the class closely. Okay? The best place for a teacher to sit is in the rear of the room, so that a student is never sure if the teacher is looking at him or her. Right? Last of all, teachers must make it clear to students that there will be stiff penalties for cheating. One of the problems with our school systems is a lack of discipline. Teachers never used to give in to students' demands or put up with bad behavior as they do today. Anyone caught cheating should immediately receive a 0 for the exam. A person even suspected of cheating should be forced to take an alternative exam in the teacher's office. Okay, well, let's go back and find out 2 sentences that don't belong. Teachers should take steps to prevent students from cheating on exams. To begin with, teachers should stop reusing old tests. That supports, as we said before. Each test that has been this explains why. The next sentences explain why a teacher should not use old tests. Even a test that has been used once, okay, the students will find out about it. Students will check with their friends. This is still continuation of the explanation of why you should not use the old test. And then it says they may even manage to turn up a copy of the test itself. It's amazing to me. Why would they do that? Turn up a copy of the test itself, accidentally not turned in by a former student of Dr. Thompson's. Teachers should also take some. So all of these sentences, sentence number 3 and 4 and 5, are just explanations of why a teacher should not use old tests. Okay, so they're okay. They're all supporting evidence. And then the theme changes a little bit. The teachers should also take some common sense precautions. Okay, now this is also supporting. These are precautions to prevent cheating. See, so that's okay. They should make the students separate themselves. Okay, so that makes sense. That supports how a teacher can prevent cheating by at least 1 seat during an exam, and they should watch the class closely. And then it says the best place for a teacher to sit in the rear of the room. Okay, that's fine. That's another bit of advice. So separate them, stay in the back, watch the students, right? So the student is never sure if the teacher is looking at him or her. Last of all, teachers must make it clear to students that there will be stiff penalties. Okay, so make it clear that there will be penalties for cheating. Okay. One of the problems with our school system is a lack of discipline. Teachers never used to give in to the students' demands or put up with bad behavior as they do today. See, these 2 sentences, they don't support the topic sentence. See? Fine, this might be a true thing or a false thing. One of the problems with our school system is a lack of discipline. Okay? Teachers never used to give in to students' demands or put up with their bad behavior. Okay? What does that have anything to do with preventing cheating, right? Right. So anyway, so these two sentences do not belong. Okay, that they almost introduce a new topic. Okay, the topic of the essay is how to prevent cheating, and now you're talking about there's no discipline, and then it's like a whole new dissertation. Teachers never used to give into. It's like your little rant over here, right? Our school system has a big problem over here. There's no discipline. In my old days, when I was a small kid, the teacher never used to give the demands of the students. We used to just, listen. It's like that. It was just kind of like whine, complaining. So those two sentences do not belong. Okay, they break the unity of the paragraph, which is about preventing cheating. So anyone caught cheating, see, now we're back on topic. See, should immediately receive a 0. Any person suspected of cheating should be forced to take an alternate exam in the teacher's office. So those two sentences also support the main topic. So the two sentences that do not support the topic are number 10 and 11 over here, and they break the unity of these paragraphs. So these were some good examples I thought about about paragraphs that have some sentences that break the unity. Again, a unified paragraph, all of the sentences support the topic statement or the theme of the paragraph. Until next time, assalamu alaikum.